I'm a little late starting tonight, so I'm going to wait a minute or two for people to hop on here. Just got to clean up my desk a little bit. I'm going to wait a second. So tonight I'm going to be talking about researchers versus frauds, or people with questionable practices in the paranormal. And I have no idea where I put my book that I make notes in. Aha! Found it. I'm going to wait a minute and wait for some more people to come on here. Oh, I know. I actually just got back from Gettysburg, so I'm even wearing just my work t-shirt, just working around the house t-shirt. So I'm not on top form today, but I even contemplated canceling this because I had to run to Gettysburg real quick. It's about a 45-minute trip for me, so it took me about an hour and 50 minutes. But yeah. So like I said, I'm getting started a little late. I'm going to wait for a couple people to hop on. And we're talking about researchers or frauds or questionable practices. I know this is a topic that a lot of people ask me to bring up. Yeah, it was nice. In Pennsylvania, going towards Gettysburg and all the different Gettysburg exits, there's a lot of cops, state troopers. Hang out, sorry, my phone just went off. They hang out in these little areas. You really have to kind of go slow, 115 north, up towards Gettysburg, definitely. So I can't do my Speedy Gonzales move. Got to be slow, very slow. And I make a nice trip. Anybody that knows this area, I go from Hagerstown to a location called Cascade. And Cascade has Fort Ritchie, the old fort. And then I go up through Blue Ridge Summit, through Emmitsburg, and then up 15 towards Gettysburg, which is a very nice trip. And I don't really pass any of the battlefield stuff. I'm literally on the highway most of the time. So it's not really, unless I stop at the battlefield, I don't really get any special views. But anyways, so the topic tonight is a little bit dramatic. I think a lot of people in the paranormal field kind of feed on the dramatic parts of, of networking and the social aspect. I'm kind of a loner, so I don't really network with too many people. Because honestly, once you get to know too many people, there's a lot of people that don't get along with others, and it's very frustrating and can be kind of stressful. So I just kind of, I'm friends with people, but I don't really get involved with a lot of people's personal lives or what they're doing or who they don't like or whatever. So I just stand back and do what I'm supposed to do, run a paranormal team, which is what we should all do, Hey, Heather. I'm sure Heather could probably vouch for this. There's a lot of drama in the paranormal field. Lots of drama. And I just, try to steer clear from it. But anyways, I kind of wanted to go over, how, if you are somebody that's not part of the field, how do you go out there and how do you choose a paranormal team? And really, I think each of us, as anybody that's on here watching that is a paranormal researcher, investigator, you could be a freelancer, you could be part of a team. I think, again, going back to the standards and responsibilities of a paranormal researcher, you need to set a standard for yourself and a protocol for how your team works. You should always know and try to, have what you do in any eventuality, because it's a very tough line there. If you do the wrong thing, honestly, your integrity could be in question, your entire team, everything. So making sure that you do what you're supposed to do in every single situation is really important, because there are people that are out there that will find anything wrong with you and they will point it out. So if you're reviewing evidence, for example, and you have something kind of questionable. You know, you really think it's paranormal. You kind of have that gut feeling, like Gibbs on NCIS. You know, your gut's telling you that it's paranormal, but you have things that could possibly explain it. The best choice is to kind of let it go. It's not something that you can use. You know, if somebody can pull it apart and it's not, you know, it's not something that's supported on every aspect, then you really got to throw it out. So you want, if you're searching for a good paranormal team or a paranormal investigator researcher to help you with your case, or to just ask questions of them, you need to look at a couple things. How long have they been doing it? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that if they've done it for 10 years that they're going to know what they're doing. Hey, Sandy. So, you know, time in doesn't necessarily mean that they are a knowledgeable individual, but it is a good, hey, Chris, it's a good start-off point, knowing that somebody has been investigating or researching the paranormal for, you know, 10 to 15 years. It's a good time frame to know that they've kind of had the ins and outs. They've seen, you know, the tricks that people play, or they've just been around the block a couple times. So, you know, time in is a great aspect to look for if you're searching for a good team. You want to look at their past investigations. I know some people that don't share anything that they do, and I really feel like while that is totally up to them, it does sacrifice what somebody's going to be able to see that you do. So you sharing your past cases, how you approach them, the research that you do, the data that you gather, how how the client maybe reacted. We don't share a lot of that aspect of it, but it would be a good thing to have clients see your previous, you know, experiences with other clients. Now, we for several years did not take on private investigations, private residences. So, you know, we don't have a whole bunch in that time frame. So right now, we just started back up. I think we've gotten 3 under our belt just since we started back in January, started taking them again. And our most recent one, I mean, they were very excited about the stuff that they got. You know, they're kind of hesitant to really, you know, feed into that they have a haunting in their house, but they were excited to actually see that, you know, they were validated. They have, these experiences are validated by what we captured. So, hey, Sue. So showing that to the public and people that would be looking for you to investigate their house, investigate their business, maybe speak at an event, or just help out with something that, you know, they have questions about. Having that stuff out there for the public is a really good idea. So we have time in, we have past investigations. Another great idea is to kind of bring people in to your everyday. So if you say maybe sharing a picture or a video clip, or your audio data, or just a situation experience that you have that, you know, you kind of want to get other people's input in. You never know when you may get something from someone that helps you out. So bringing the public in to kind of have a little window into your world by giving them this information really kind of, you know, it allows them to get, you know, a good, you know, communication line with them. And that you get to know them. So eventually, if they are like, well, I've always had this stuff happening in my house. So, you know, I've gotten to know Antietam Paranormal Society a little bit better by their interactions on their page on Facebook. You know, wow, right there, you've gotten yourself a client just by opening yourself up to the public itself. A lot of teams I see don't do anything but Facebook. And I think that's actually, it's really taking away from what you can get from the internet. There are people that aren't on Facebook. Yes, I know. Isn't it crazy? People not on Facebook these days. I personally wouldn't be on Facebook if I didn't have my business on Facebook, or the APS page on Facebook. I hate Facebook. Again, it's full of drama. And like, you always see the negativity postings and stuff, and I'd really rather not be on there, but after a while it becomes addictive. So anyways, besides Facebook, I would say have a website. if you want people to come to you, they want a website where they can see your information without having to interact or ask questions. So, you know, a frequently asked questions page is great. How you do your investigations section is great. Introducing your members is really great. People want to see that when you have a team, they want to see who's on the team. They want to see what they do. And possibly they might want to do their own little research on each person on the team. I don't know. You never know what people might want to do with the information. But they want to be safe. They want to make sure, hey, Jim, they want to make sure that when they're asking you to be in their home, that you're really there for the right reasons. Now, that's one of the reasons why we don't accept people who have like criminal backgrounds on the team. So, you know, if you have domestic violence or theft, any type of sex offense, you're not going to make the APS team. So, you know, looking at that, that's a good researcher. Somebody who gives people information about themselves. They don't want to see people who are, you know, not giving them information. You just have a team name, but they don't know who's on the team. I mean, they could have, you know, Freddy Krueger show up to their house to do an investigation. Who wants that? Anyways, have that information out there. A real good team is going to have all that information out there for people to see. Another one, great one, is to do all the different social media sites. I mean, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's Google+, and I know there's probably others, but I don't do those. So, anybody has any ideas or suggestions for other social media sites that they've had good luck with, you know, interacting with people on, that's a great idea. So once again, I'm going to go back to saying these are the types of things that you want to see a good paranormal investigator, researcher, team, freelance investigator. These are the kinds of things you want to see them doing, things that you want to see them sharing with you. Good teams have protocols, good teams have standards, good teams have an ethic, you know, to how they investigate, the information they give out, and how they approach their investigations, their research, their analysis, and then, you know, their interactions with their clients. If anybody has any other questions or suggestions about the types of things that you really like to see, you know, paranormal investigators do, or suggestions that you think that they should not do, you know, go ahead and put that out there. Frauds. So we have had our definite experience with people that are frauds. We had an individual that was contacted a client. It was a private residence many years ago, and this guy came in and, you know, promised all kinds of things. He was a shaman. He was a psychic medium. He was, you know, he connected with all these people. You know, he had all these famous names of people that he had interacted with over the years. He was part of a magazine that had to do with the paranormal many years before. And, you know, we kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt right at first. Back then, we didn't deal with psychic mediums at all. So, you know, we just kind of wanted to get the bigger picture and really listen to what he had to say first before we made any judgments. But it came very clear that a lot of the stuff that he did and that he claimed to be really kind of didn't, you know, they didn't support each other. So he was like all over the spectrum of beliefs and feeding this into this poor old lady that was our client. And I have to say, you know, we laugh about it now, but it honestly it's kind of unbelievable. He stood in the middle of her kitchen area and said that he was going to manifest a spirit in front of him. And he literally did like the Wayne's World kind of thing. And I really wondered when he started doing it, what in the world is going to happen when A, he does manifest one? What is his reaction going to be? And B, what if there is no, you know, what if he doesn't manifest anything? Which he didn't. He literally, after 15 minutes, stopped what he was doing, put his hands down to his sides, and walked out of the room. And it was honestly one of the most bizarre things that I've ever seen in my life. And we couldn't help but laugh because it was so bizarre. It was very bizarre. And it ended up our personal opinion of this guy was 100% absolutely correct, because later on he decided that he would tell the client that for $1,500 he'd fly in one of his friends and they would cleanse the house completely. And he had already done a cleansing. He used like all these different, he had used sage, like horsehair and sweetgrass, and you name it, he probably used it and burned it in her house. It smelled horrible, and she was still having issues. So I don't know. It was very confusing for her, and I think eventually she was put into a nursing home, so she didn't stay in her house. Hey, Donna. But these are the kinds of things that we see people do. They go into homes, they scare people. Their ambition isn't necessarily to help. It's to preach to a client, or to tell them what they think without even really looking at what they're gathering. I mean, anybody can go into a location, bring all this equipment, do an investigation, kind of make judgments about what you think you're getting through audio. Hey, Salisbury. Just make your judgments about the audio. Make your judgments about any type of ITC responses that you receive. And not be objective about anything that they're receiving. And in the end, they aren't helping the client at all. They are helping themselves. It's just another investigation that they can add to their profile. And while, it's great to have the experience, you're there to help the client. As long as the client is, is doing what they're supposed to do, that's what you're there for. You shouldn't be there to further your agenda as a paranormal TV star, or, a jackass. But anyways, you're going to see frauds do things that, seem a little bit fantastic. They're going to say they have been scratched, they've been pushed, they've, they move things, trying to. That was another one. We had an individual that we were at a location, very, very active location. So the first thing you say to yourself is, if it's very active, you don't need to make stuff up. It just happens. But this guy would deliberately stomp his feet. He would move things, reaching out and touching things to move it. And it was very dark, obviously, so you can't see what somebody's doing. Several people called him out on it during our investigations, and then they come to me later on and say, this is what I experienced. Luckily enough, he removed himself from the group, so we we didn't deal with that drama. But either way, these people who do these fraudulent acts are full of drama anyways, so they will find ways in any way to kind of, have the attention focused on themselves. But, you really have to be careful and watch how these people put the information out there. I also say there are some teams that there's one team that I know of that would just say, oh, we went and investigated, and in reality they hadn't, so they created a false graph of places they investigated. I've been around long enough to, kind of get a bead on these people, and, you know them personally, so then you see this stuff where they profess on their Facebook page that they've gone out and investigated when, really they have not. You've got to be careful. Interview these people first before you actually have them into your home, and clearly outline your goals for an investigation. I always ask when people want us to do an investigation, what do you hope to get out of this? Do you want them gone? Do you want validation? Do you just want to see what they have to say? Do you want to know who they are? Know up front what your goals are. And I really think that people should know when you're talking to a team, if they don't ask you questions and they're just like, sign me up, I'm coming to your house next week, and they don't do any type of research or any type of questionnaire or interview ahead of time, those should be warning flags. That's not the kind of team that you want into your house. And any team that does do these kinds of things, stick to ghost hunts. Stick to locations that are, not dealing with a client, that you're just dealing with paying the payment and going and doing the investigation, because upfront and honest, you're messing things up for these people. They live in these homes, they work in these businesses, and you're not giving them any type of help at all. So, researchers versus frauds. Researchers are going to do the details. They're going to ask the questions. They're going to show you the information. They're going to be honest about what they do, and they're going to clearly and publicly give you as much information as they can. Frauds are probably going to be quiet and secretive and only really be in it for the investigation. So they show up and then they disappear and you never see them again. That's one of the things that I hear a lot. A lot. These people just show up, do the investigation, and they've never heard from them again. Now, I've honestly had clients, several clients, that we've done the full Monty. You know, we've done everything. We've done the research. We've done the investigation. We've done all the data analysis. And I mean, this can take weeks. It takes a long time to go through everything and then make conclusions and correlations. So then, we have clients that it's like you call them to set up something. They don't care. They're not really interested in what you have to say afterwards. It's like they just wanted the investigation. So there are, yeah, they ask for money. I'll be honest, we have been so fortunate. We have had so many locations, our team has, that we're able to go back again and again. And it's an incredible gift for us to be able to do that kind of research. And these are places that we do not have to provide the client every single time with what's going on. We can just give them a general summary. Their purpose for letting us come in is to further our own research and not necessarily for anything else. So it's really great. And remind me, what was the third thing? Questionable practices. So that kind of falls in the fraudulent thing. People questionably, not doing any type of research and not really following through, or assuming that things are all paranormal. That's huge. If you have somebody that brings you a picture from your house and well, there's a stain on my wall, so I know that's a stain, and they're like adamant, no, that's a ghost. You have a ghost. That's a ghost in this picture. That's not a help. That's not a help at all, because they could sway your opinion. It's a stain on your wall, but yet these people are trying to tell you that it's paranormal. So please be objective. When you're going over evidence, remain objective. Our most recent private investigation we did, there were several times during our ITC session that we felt like, during the investigation, we felt like we were receiving responses. And at that point in time, we weren't taking the responses and automatically replying. If we didn't get a response, the first time, say, we kept getting in Spanish, I love you. We would ask questions. But because they weren't responding to that, we kind of stopped and moved on to other questions. So when I listened back to it, I tried to decipher, was it really saying what we thought it said? We weren't certain. It was kind of inconclusive when you listen to the audio back. So to me, the sound to us was not conclusive afterwards. I mean, it still seemed kind of, but we weren't sure. That's not something you want to use, because the client they want stuff that is clearly heard. They don't want to listen to something that's questionable. And you don't want to give them false, stuff that, if it's questionable to you and you're giving it to them, and you're still not certain, it's probably not the greatest practice to give something that you're not quite certain of. Anybody have any questions? Hey, Kim. I look good. I'm a ratty mess. My hair is just pulled back, and I'm wearing my husband's old army t-shirt that's like got holes in it. I didn't dress up. I literally came in the door and hopped on here. So anybody have any questions or thoughts or comments, feel free to post them. I think one of the other, paranormal teams sometimes like to focus on doing investigations when the weather's right. We do investigations all year long. It's not to say that they're doing anything wrong with that, but I really feel like it's it can improve your knowledge if you do investigations all throughout the year. There are some places that I've been that are way more active in the wintertime. I don't know if it's the temperature. I don't know if it's just the right time frame, a good climate, whatever it is. But a good researcher is probably going to do this all year round to really get information from each season, each, type of weather. You never know. The rain could impact the activity. The, below freezing could impact the activity. The month of December could impact the activity. You just don't know. So it's best to do every month of the year and kind of see how things happen. Well, the last investigation we did was the warehouse. And we're still reviewing that. So I'd say it was pretty good. We had some interesting activity. Footsteps in the house area. We had something that was out in the big area of the warehouse where they keep most of the, they manufacture stuff there, so there's a lot of wood in this area. We kept hearing things over there, so we would go and inspect it, and it was just, something wasn't right in that area. We're not certain what it is, but hopefully if we listen back to the audio, we get something. But again, we're still reviewing that. Before August 8th, Jeremy and I will be at the Apollo Theater on the 21st of July. Now, the tickets are for sale through the Eastern Panhandle Paracon, and but we'll be guiding that night, kind of helping out with the ghost hunts. So it's $40 for a ticket. I know they're only, I think, selling 24 tickets to that. So if anybody's interested, that's when we'll be over there. And I personally am speaking at the Eastern Panhandle Paracon Saturday, July 21st at 2 p.m. At the Roundhouse in Martinsburg. So come see me. I'm not quite famous, but there are going to be famous people there. So we'll see. I try to do my best with the speaking, and to me, when I speak, I really feel like it's important to share my knowledge, not necessarily, name drop the fact that I've met Steve and Tango and things like that. It's whatever, because we all put our pants on the same way. Hey, Sharon. Yeah, so, yes, Harris is the one heading all of that up, but he will not be there. I'm not certain which facility he's going to be at, because there's Friday and Saturday night, so it would be the 20th and the 21st of July. They're having investigation or ghost hunts at the Roundhouse. They're having it at the Adam Stevens house. Correct me with that, because I'm Stevens Adams. I don't remember the name of that one. And the Apollo Theater. But there's lots of people speaking Saturday and Sunday, so I think they're still having a discounted tickets on Eventbrite right now. I think it's like $20 for the whole weekend. Sounds like they're going to have lots of great people there talking about the paranormal, so don't miss it. It's in Martinsburg at the Roundhouse. It's very close and it's huge. Lots and lots of people coming from all over the U.S. All over. It's not just locals. It's lots of different people. We did the Apollo, oh gosh, several years ago. And I definitely feel there's something in there. We did have some good luck. Adam Stevens. Thanks, Chris. I definitely feel there's stuff there. I mean, I told Pat Marin, who asked me to help out, I told her that we'd been there, but I really need to review our case notes because, I have a lot of cases. We do investigations every month, so trying to remember each detail of every single one is really difficult. Like right now, I'm actually going back through all of our investigations at the John Brown Raid headquarters and the Chitlin Circuit building. I'm reviewing everything that we did there and making sure I didn't miss anything, and creating a good tour, paranormal tour for that location for our ghost hunt, which is in September. So, you know, oh, thanks, Rachel. I'm trying, you know, really right now, kind of off subject. I am on the ketogenic diet, and it's a great diet, I'll be honest. I've never felt better. You basically become fat dependent. So you eat lots of healthy fats in order to get your energy instead of carbohydrates. And it's working really good for me. I have lost 28 pounds. And right now, though, I really could eat a cheeseburger sub and french fries, which is depressing. But I'm sure I'll eat a salad or something like that later. Anyways, so, and Sue, after that, so we have our ghost hunt, which is actually sold out, in September, which stinks, but they're definitely, if this one works out great, we're going to do it again. So we'll see how it works for the, John Brown Raid headquarters and the Chitlin building. It's a very interesting place. But we're doing a bunch of things in October at the Oddfellows. And this one is a little different this year, so that people don't have to spend the entire night at Oddfellows. You know, you have just 2 hours of the most active spot in the whole building. And what can I say? It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great, I think. And we are allowing, this is one of the things that I forgot to mention when I did my live the other day, we are allowing 12 and up, ages 12 and up. Anybody under the age of 18, however, has to have a parent or guardian with them, somebody that's 18 that can sign for them to be there. And all of that information will actually be, put out there. We send a virtual registration form and sign off form so that people can do it online. You're not having to wait around at the Oddfellows the night of your ghost hunt. So that's a big improvement. Big improvement. Anybody have any other questions? Yeah, Oddfellows is great. I've said it before. It's one of those locations where when we first started, we had nothing happen. Nothing. It was kind of disappointing. You know, you go in, you spend a lot of time researching and planning, and you go in and you spend a whole night, and not only do you not get any type of personal experiences, but you don't get any audio. So yeah, you know, in the end, it's kind of disappointing, but we stood our ground, went back. Second time, we didn't have really much happen. A couple things that were like, maybe we might have something going on here. And then third time, and ever since, we have had some really great activity, definitely on the second floor, which is where most of the ghost hunt will actually occur. So always get great stuff happening up there. There are quite a few spirits in Oddfellows, and every time we go, we seem to contact a new one that maybe didn't talk to us before. And, you know, that's another thing with a good researcher. You know, they go back again and again to try to see if they actually get responses. You know, not just giving up, you know, after not having any type of experience. A researcher, investigator is going to continue doing what they set out to do to try to validate the experiences that people came to you with, and just see if they can actually communicate. Some just need some time to get to know you and your energy, basically. Anybody have any other questions? Questions, comments? Yes, they did get very comfortable with us. And in extension to that, anybody that we have go in there that, you know, we seem to interact with very well, they seem to get good activity as well. So I did notice that someone that we didn't energetically kind of mesh with went in, and they didn't have any experiences at all. No equipment manipulation, no personal experiences. So to me, that's very telling, you know, to look back and see people that don't really kind of, you know, their energy's not on the same frequency. They don't necessarily have the same interactions. So I guess if we don't get along, they don't get along. I don't know. It's an interesting thing to note over time, how spirits interact with other people that they're not familiar with. Anybody else have any questions, thoughts, or comments? Topic suggestions. I still need some of those. Now I know a couple people said something about like talk about locations. I can do locations that we've been, different types of locations, and how how the spirits are different in each type of location. Somebody suggested just talking about equipment. I have done that a little. I really feel like the best equipment that you can have is you, an audio recorder, a camera, and your flashlight. I feel like a lot of people do too much equipment and kind of lose sight of what they're trying to do. And honestly, the most acceptable forms of evidence, or to me, pieces of the puzzle, are audio and video. So, just having something like a REM pod is not necessarily it's not going to really convince anybody. Or haunted objects. Yes, I think Rose, you had suggested that before. Haunted objects. I don't know that I can do a whole show on haunted objects, because I've honestly never really found one specific that I know is haunted. I know we've been in places that there's got to be haunted objects, and I think that's why the activity is prevalent in the area. We did the Middletown Valley Historical Society, and they have dozens of donated items that are antique, from people that, lived in Middletown, or, estate sales, things like that, that they've collected over the years. So they're all from all different people, and who knows what type of connection some of these people had to them, and the fact that, that's still there in Middletown. We don't necessarily believe that but definitely, Rose, it's a good idea. And, it's kind of like talking about, why is that? Why are objects haunted? I think Ghost Magnets with a Twist asked that the other day. This is a good one for Sharon. Sharon, if you're still out there watching, why do you believe objects are haunted? I personally think that, like, when people loved something, it kind of leaves a little bit of an energy behind on it. Kind of like, they say stink bugs, wherever they crawl, they leave their scent. So, like, if you leave your energy behind on an object, it's almost like a beacon for you. You can find it again. So, who knows? I don't feel like spirits can actually change the frequency of anything. They just kind of leave a little bit of a breadcrumb behind. But I don't know if Sharon's still on here, but she's the great one to ask that question about. Maybe. See? Yeah, people putting so much energy into them. I hate to use the stink bug reference, but seriously though, they say that stink bugs can find where they, like, entered a house because they leave their scent wherever they walk. Yikes. I don't see stink bugs that often anymore, but anyways, it's just kind of like, if you love something and you frequently used it, you probably leave a little trace of your energy behind there. I hate stink bugs. They're like little drunken fighter pilots. They just, like, fly around in circles and circles, and then they hit something and then land on the floor upside down. Ants do that too. Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, and it kind of makes sense because they always seem to have that same little trail, and they all follow along behind each other. But yeah, Kim asked about how you pick a location, and I have visited this before, but I will do it real quick again. Some of the locations that we've done, I will use the Middletown Historical Society, Middletown Valley Historical Society, as a really good example. I grew up in Middletown, Maryland, so Middletown to me you know, has a special place in my heart. There are buildings and sites in that town that I would love to investigate and hope to pursue. I know a lot of people from there, so, you know, eventually, if I ever actually get some time to go over there and really network with some of these people, maybe I'll be able to get these locations. But the Historical Society is a great place to start. So in any town, the Historical Society is going to be a place that, you know, kind of knows the in and outs, whether or not they would be amenable to having investigations done. So if you go to them, I went to them and just said, hey, have you ever thought about having a paranormal investigation? Do you ever have anything happen? And it just so happens that the lady that kind of ran everything at that point was very interested, wanted to know how we did it, wanted to know, you know, more information. So we ended up doing an investigation, and the house is adorable. The ladies that run the Historical Society are so sweet, and they actually have meetings, I think, once a month at the Grace United Church right on Church Street, which they have some really good historical speakers. So if you ever want to check that out, I would recommend it. Great people, donate money, join them up. They're very nice. Anybody that likes history, history is usually your in to any location. You do a little history on a place, you have some information, and then you approach the people that are the representatives or owners. You'd be surprised the things that they may, you know, agree to. They may just say, sure, you know, hey, even if it's one time. I mean, it's, you know, it's a different experience to go in and check it out. Some of them may have been approached in the past and may ask for may have asked for money for an investigation. But lately, we haven't approached anybody, but most cases, as long as they haven't had an investigation, they usually let you do it for free the first time. So that's how I recommend. Do a little research and approach the people. Get to know them, and maybe not approach them immediately with the investigation standpoint. Some people are like, oh yeah, that's exciting, and some people are like, well, wait a second, you're one of those people, the weird ones that believe in ghosts. So you never know how they're going to take it. Kind of approach it slow. And most people aren't immediately saying no. They're just kind of like, give me more information and I'll let you know. So we were even approved to actually do an investigation at the prison many years ago, but we never went through with it due to some situations within the group. So you never know. Just remember that the worst case scenario is somebody's going to tell you no. So find a great historic location and approach them. Just remember that some places may, like we have a location that we were just given permission for. We are not allowed to share the location name. It is in Gettysburg. We can't share the location name. It's never been investigated before, but we have to approach this business as a private residence. So it's exciting for us because we love historic locations, but again, we have to make sacrifices to be able to do places that we wouldn't normally get to do. Anybody have any other questions? It was 7:45. I know it was late, but I don't really have too much more. I don't want to really kind of pursue too much of the fraud. I really wanted to approach today's talk to let people know to be careful who you network with. Be careful who you invite into your home. And, you know, kind of be careful with what information they give you. You just don't know when somebody doesn't have, they just don't have the same goals. They don't have the same goals as other people. So you just have to be careful. The paranormal field is a very easy way for people to become popular and become well known. Thanks, Kim. So, you know, you just really have to be objective and really look at the bigger picture, basically. When you're talking with somebody, when you're working with somebody, and if anybody what, Chris? Sadly, yeah. It's unfortunate because I have met so many awesome people, awesome people. Heather Llewellyn's a great example. I've never met her in person, but, you know, we interact great. We have the same approach to investigations and how we run our teams. You know, it's great support to have founders out there that kind of align with, you know, the same ethics and beliefs about a paranormal team. So it's really nice to be able to have founders and other teams that you can work with and bounce ideas off of. So I definitely, a lot of my friends are paranormal investigators, people that I've had in the group in the past, people that we've investigated with in the past. Like, you know, the people that we worked with over at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, I mean, some of them are, you know, they're our favorite people. So you can collect a lot of good people. Just make sure to watch out for the bad. Anybody who's a false prophet, who tells you things that they can't even know. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. Anybody has any questions, comments, thoughts, or topic ideas, just you can post them in the comment section, or you can send them to me via private message. But I think that's going to be it for tonight, and I'll leave you with, I'm Rebecca Boyer. I am the co-founder and case manager of Antietam Paranormal Society, and we are located in Hagerstown, Maryland. If you have an investigation that you want us to do, you feel free to email us at antiedamparanormal@gmail.com, or just send us a private message right here on the page. But I will talk to you guys next week, if not earlier. Depends on my schedule. Bye, guys.